Nicole Huntsman here from moderncosmic.com. Okay, I've got a little technique here that for those of you who have studied synastry, let's say you have a partner or someone you're interested in, you really are interested in studying that chart to the depths. Here's another fun little technique you can use to see what your compatibility is like. Okay, to be able to use this technique, you need to understand some basics. So you need to understand the houses, and you need to understand sort of also your zodiac signs and their rulers, just so the basics, and of course the basics of aspects in a birth chart. Okay, so what you're going to do, in typical synastry, we're looking at kind of the chemistry between two people. So we're looking at the geometry that's formed when you take two birth charts, you put them together, and you look at the geometry between, say, my sun and your Venus, okay? Those interaspects between our planetary placements. Okay, and while that's very valuable, this is another layer, another level, okay? So next, I want you to take your birth chart, and we're going to use mine as an example here because I know mine fairly well. And we're going to use my Venus, for example, but you can do this with this technique with any of, you've got to take your luminaries, so your sun, your moon, then your Mercury, your Venus, your Mars, okay? You can look at these guys to use this technique. And you're going to look at these planets and you're going to look and see what aspects they're making to other planets in your birth chart that are less than 2 degrees. And they can be any of the major aspects. So, it can even be sextiles, okay? So with my chart, well, I'm going to give you an example because I have kind of a complicated Venus. I have a Venus that's in Virgo, which is, an earth sign, very much appreciates, Venus is what you enjoy, okay? It's what brings you pleasure, it's what you value. Mine is in Virgo, which has to do with, I love analysis. It's in my first house, so I love, it's why I talk quickly. My Mercury's there as well, which is why I talk quickly. But my Venus really enjoys analyzing things, okay? With this Venus, it also is it has a few interesting aspects. It sextiles Jupiter, okay? It makes another sextile down to Uranus, and it also makes a quincunx to my moon, and I believe a square to Neptune. So of all of these, as I'm looking at them, my square to Neptune's a pretty wide orb, so we're not going to look at that one, but I do have that Jupiter sextile to my Venus is a 1-degree orb. The quincunx to my moon is a 1-degree orb, and the Venus to Uranus is a 5-degree orb. So let's just look at the Jupiter and the moon, okay? So Jupiter, we know, traditionally rules, of course it traditionally rules Sagittarius, but it also traditionally rules Pisces. My moon, the moon, rules Cancer. So although I have a Venus that's in Virgo, it's as though it's kind of like a Pisces or Sagittarius Venus or a Cancer Venus, okay? And that's also in the first house, so it throws a little Aries in there. So it's kind of a complicated Venus, but it's helpful because I frankly can get along with a lot of different people. I'm a Libra, and my chart is very evenly distributed amongst the elements and the modalities. So I tend to be able to kind of be friendly with whomever, as long as they're not, a total asshole. I can make it work, But if you want to look at what you do with this technique next is you say, look at your partners, then look at your partner's Venus. So many times you will see, and I've seen this in my own chart, where I've been attracted to people who have Venus in Sagittarius because of that Jupiter, Venus in Pisces, or Venus in Cancer. And there is a compatibility there. There's the way that my Venus operates and the way that this other person's Venus operates, this Venus that's actually in the zodiac sign. Although mine is just being flavored by aspects, those planetary rulers of the zodiac sign that perhaps my partner's Venus is in, there's an understanding there, okay? So I've got my Venus, makes a connection to Uranus, which is Aquarius, and it's a wider orb, but I have dated quite a few people with Venus or Mars even in Aquarius. So, interesting, fun technique to use. It's not the be-all, end-all. You always want to start with the basics, and this is like salt and pepper to sort of flavor things and season them, but it might shed some light on why, if you're like me and you have a Venus in Virgo and you've been dating people who have, Aries, Venus in Aries or Venus in Aquarius, it's very different from that Venus in Virgo, and it will start to make sense because as long as you have aspects being made to a planet, that planet isn't just colored by the zodiac sign it's in. There's the zodiac sign, the house placement, and then the aspects. You got to look at all of those things. They all make that unique planet, the way that it's expressed, that part of your personality, the way that it's expressed, it gives it its own nuance. So we are much more complicated than, just the 12 zodiac signs being placed on each of our planets. Okay, if you would like to have a reading, come over to my site if you want. I've got lessons on my site. I'm just starting to build it out, but there's some good beginner lessons and there's some compatibility, just little blog articles and whatnot on there. So come visit me over there at moderncosmic.com. If you'd like a reading, you can also sign up for a reading there on my site. I do birth chart readings, course forecasting, relationship readings, and I also can kind of customize things if you're looking to start a business or if you've got something exciting coming up in your life and you need some help with planning things. Okay, so have a good one. All right, bye-bye.